In this video, I'm going to teach you everything I've learned in a half a decade of selling on Amazon. We're going to learn everything from the basics to how to make up to $2,500 in profit per day passively. And you can do this in any country from any location with as little as 15 hours per week and just starting with $100. That's what I did. Now I've collectively been a part of selling almost $8 million online. So start that timer because we have a lot of ground to cover, and be sure to stick around until the end of the video because I have a giveaway for some subscribers. Amazon FBA allows sellers to send inventory into Amazon warehouses, but there are over 10 different ways of making money on Amazon, but only a few are worth doing. The two things you need to know about all of these is the main difference is the way you obtain the products and how much money it costs to start. So there are many similarities across all the methods, but we're only going to discuss a couple. The first way to sell is retail arbitrage, so going into retail stores to find items to send into Amazon. But the problem with RA is that it's not scalable and you can't do it from anywhere. Then there's retail arbitrage's cousin, online arbitrage. And this is where you can buy items from the retail stores, but from their websites. So let's stick with online arbitrage, or OA, for now. But before we get any products on our path to create a multi-million-dollar business, we need to set up a strong foundation. First, by dragging your mouse over to hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Then you're going to need to sign up for an Amazon seller account and a prep center. A prep center is going to handle all of the shipping into Amazon. And this will be especially important if you're outside of the United States or you're in the United States and you don't have a lot of time because you have a life and other priorities. Because if you thought we could send things directly from Walmart or Target into the Amazon warehouses, you are sorely mistaken. And that's because Amazon has very strict shipping requirements, and failure to adhere to these will result in a suspended Amazon account. It's a good idea to find prep centers across the United States, but for OA specifically, since we're buying things from retail stores, we're going to have to deal with this thing called sales tax. And sales tax can take thousands of dollars away from your bottom line. So go to this website right here and specifically look for a prep center in the state of Montana. Montana is one of the few states that doesn't have sales tax, so when you buy from these retail stores, you won't get charged a sales tax, and it's one of the most centrally located sales tax-free states. This is not only going to save you on shipping, but time as well. And when talking with the prep centers, you need to know these three things. Do they deal with online arbitrage sellers? How much do they charge you per unit of shipping it into Amazon? And how quickly can they get your items out? Do not pay more than $1.50 per unit, and if they quote you more than 72 hours to get your products into Amazon, find someone else. Once you have a prep center, it's time to find some products, but first we're going to need some tools. Keepa measures the sales consistency of an item. If an item's selling for $50 now, but yesterday it was selling for $35, then that's a problem. And Keepa shows us exactly that. Now, Keepa has dozens of options to read the data on Amazon listings, but here are the only ones you need to know. What is the sales rank, and where were the sellers like us, third-party FBA sellers, selling this at? Third-party FBA sellers are sellers like me and you that are selling these items on Amazon. And sales rank is what the item's ranked at in the Amazon catalog. And this is sometimes referred to as BSR. The lower the sales rank, the better selling that item is. Every category on Amazon has a different sales rank, so if something is in books and it's ranked 100,000, that means it's the 100,000th best-selling book on Amazon. And if something's ranked 0, then that means it's not selling at all. You can see specifically on this chart right here, the rank spiked upwards, but then came back down a few weeks later. But on this item right here, it's barely selling at all. And on this chart, you can see that the item was selling for $261, and now it's selling for $323. Quite the price difference. But how do we actually find the products? Tactical Arbitrage helps us find products in retail stores. So instead of having to manually comb websites to try and find products to sell, Tactical Arbitrage can scan the UPCs of the retail sites, compare those prices on Amazon, including the fees, and once you get the results back from the scan, you can then quickly filter those results to find what's profitable and what isn't. Now, this is a numbers game. You need to run as many scans as you can, and I'm always having at least 5 different websites running. Now, Tactical Arbitrage has over 200 different websites on it, but there's another website called Tactical Bucket where you can hook up websites that aren't on Tactical Arbitrage and then scan sites that may have much less competition. Now, there are quite a few fees when selling on Amazon, and TA will calculate some of those for you, but it doesn't factor all of those in, and we need a way to calculate those, which is why we move on to the third tool called ASINZen. ASINZen is a Chrome extension that when put on your Chrome browser, you can see everything you need to know about that Amazon listing. So take the items that are on Tactical Arbitrage that have over a 30% ROI over to ASINZen. We can plug the cost into ASINZen and see the total profit that's there. But just because we're buying a product for $150 doesn't mean that that's the price we use to calculate the profit, because there are extra costs we need to include, and this is where I see even seasoned Amazon sellers struggle, so pay attention. The exact fees. What do we include? First, we need to include our prep center fees. So let's say $1.50. Now, Amazon does charge 30 cents to label your item, but if you use a prep center, they'll label your items for you, so that cost is included. Then even if you get that item shipped free to your prep center, the prep center is still going to have to ship that into Amazon. And Amazon does have amazing carrier rates, but you still have to pay for that shipping. But I like to be conservative and say 50 cents per pound. You can see the weight right here on ASINZEN. So for this 2-pound product right here, we'll say it'll cost an extra $1. That means we need to add an extra $2.50 total. And after plugging that into ASINZEN, it would be $152. But as we saw, it was selling at $280 not long ago. So let's plug in $280 price into what we would be selling it at. And then we can see our profit is still $96 per unit. But how many do we buy? Here are my rules for how many to buy of an item for online arbitrage. And it changes depending on the business model, but for OA, we need at least $5 gross profit and 20% ROI after all fees. You can see this on Keepa. When Amazon is on the listing, do not buy it. When Amazon is on the listing, there is a yellow line, and capturing at least 30 sales per month. But how do we find out how many sales we'll capture? So look at the estimated monthly sales on ASINZEN, and it says about 526. You can see that this is a variation, which means that all of the variations on this listing are collectively moving this much. But how much is this specific color of Nintendo Switch moving? The way we can find this out is click on that variations tab. And this one is getting 73% of the sales. This means out of the 526, this color is moving 383 units per month. But we're not stopping there. Click on that FBA offer tab. You can see that there are 4 other people selling this. The way Amazon works is you can sell things used and you can sell things new. You can sell things Prime or FBA, and you can sell things not via FBA or out of your own home. But the people that sell things new and FBA are the ones that get most of the sales. So whatever item is new and at FBA and at the lowest price is getting all of the sales. And if 2 people are selling the same product via FBA and at a new price, they are going to split those sales equally, and this is known on Amazon as the buy box rotation. So we can see 2 other sellers on this listing selling via FBA at $314. And we would be the 3rd FBA seller, which means that we would be splitting those 383 sales 3 different ways. And that would be 127 sales per month. But that still doesn't answer the question, how many do we actually buy? Always buy up to 45 days worth of inventory or 10% ROI per week's worth of inventory. This means that if you have an item that's a 30% ROI, you would buy 3 weeks worth of inventory. For this item, it's a $96 gross profit or a 64% ROI. So this would meet the max 45 days supply. So we would take 127 captured sales times 1.5, and that would be 190 units. And this would net us $18,000 profit on this one item over the next 45 days. But video games are expensive, and I found this grocery item that I could buy for $3.50 and make $7.50 per unit selling it. And I bought about 300 of these, meaning that I turned about $1,000 into about $3,000. And all of this seems great. It seems like easy money until you hit the biggest wall that online arbitrage sellers face, and that's gating. This will be either the single biggest reason you fail with online arbitrage, or it will be the reason you end up making thousands of dollars per month and achieving whatever financial goal you want with this. Amazon gates or prevents sellers from certain brands and categories to prevent counterfeit items. And the rule of thumb is the more gated it is, the more lucrative it is. And that's just because there's much less competition here. All Amazon is just a logistics game. The goal is who can get ungated and get the products into the hands of the people that need them. Great gated categories to get into are toys and games, supplements, beauty products, just to name a few. And to get ungated in something, you need to send in an invoice or receipt dated in the last 180 days that has at least 12 units of the product that you're trying to get ungated in. So let's say you want to sell these Nike shoes, but you can't sell Nike. What you would do is you would go over to Eastbay, purchase 12 of those shoes, then get your invoice or receipt, and then submit that to Amazon. And then a few days later, you should get ungated in Nike. And if you do get denied, it usually has to do with the information that you have on the receipt or invoice. And 2 other great sites to get ungated ungated in certain brands are AENT.com and Entertainment Earth. And once you find items to sell, one of the best places to look for items are sellers that are already on the listings that you're selling. Odds are you're not the only one finding these products, so why not see what your competitors are selling? So then you could take those Amazon identification numbers or ASINs, plug those into Tactical Arbitrage and reverse source them. So now that you have products going into Amazon, it's time to get our last tool, and that is a repricer. Because Amazon works on the buy box rotation, if someone lowers their price by a penny, then that means that they're going to get all of the sales. So this could mean tens of thousands of dollars per month. But if you have a repricer and someone lowers by a penny, you can go down and match their price, and that way this can work while you're sleeping. I've even lowered my price by a penny just to see if the person I'm selling against not only has a repricer, but how good of a repricer is it? Will it follow me down immediately, or does it take 15 to 20 minutes and then I can get sales in that 15 to 20 minutes? The repricer I recommend is repricer.com. Once you set that up, then you can find even more products. And if you want to take it a step further, you can go to sites like onlinejobs.ph or Upwork and try to find people to source products for you. I have a free crash course on how to use Tactical Arbitrage down below, and you can even give that to them and have them learn how to do that and then source from Tactical Arbitrage. And you can start online arbitrage with less than $100, but on the family tree of selling on Amazon, there's a couple more scalable ways. And the way I'm making the majority of my money of selling on Amazon is via wholesale, or buying from the distributors or brands that are selling to these retail stores. However, to start this business model, you need about $1,000. And not only is it more scalable, but it's easier to get ungated. It takes less time to purchase the products, and the products that you're selling will have less competition. And all you have to do is just Google whatever brand you're trying to find wholesale, and then the word wholesale, and then start reaching out to suppliers every single day. I usually shoot for about 30 emails per day. And if you do that Monday through Friday, you will find a couple of suppliers, and all it takes is one supplier to change your life. There's also a method called private label, or instead of selling other people's brands, you can launch your own brand on Amazon. And to do that, it costs a bit more. Last month, I spent about $17,000, and I should be launching my brand by end of month. And this is the highest risk but highest reward way to sell on Amazon, and definitely not where I recommend starting. Now, if you didn't understand a lot of that, don't worry, it's okay. You're not supposed to. This is supposed to be the tip of the iceberg, so to speak. And when learning a new topic, sometimes just getting a broad overview will make it much easier to learn when you actually dive in a little deeper. So what I want you to do is go back through this video, take notes of things that you want to learn more about, and then do research on those topics. Now, as I promised, I'm going to do a giveaway for a few subscribers. Down below, I have a 6-hour step-by-step program on how to sell via Amazon FBA. It's extremely affordable, and there's a private Facebook and Discord group with direct access to me. So lifetime access to the course, Discord, and Facebook group to 3 people that answer this question. I hid an Easter egg somewhere in this video. At what second mark did I hide it? Good luck.